pretty, maybe not conventionally, but to me, I'm sure to Councilman Short and to Commissioner Sharp and the 20,000 people that use this every day, she's beautiful.
Well, there they go. Cars and trucks zooming across. They, of course, are talking about the bridge. It's finally open again tonight. The Blackiston Mill Bridge reopened today, connecting Floyd and Clark counties, an important corridor. The 60-year-old bridge was closed for 5 months after it was deemed unsafe for drivers due to flooding in the area. Well, melting snow and high rains washed out the creek bank, supporting the Clark County side of the bridge on February 2nd. Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Doug Proffitt. This is our top story. It was after the Blackiston Mill dam below it failed. Floyd County took that dam out, the last obstacle to reopen the bridge, as our Ian Hardwick found out today.
No trumpets, yet a symphony of sound on the Blackiston Mill Bridge.
We're super excited.
Despite setbacks like historic flooding in April and obtaining the privately owned Blackiston Mill Dam for removal, now nearly 20,000 daily drivers can fly between Floyd and Clark counties again after flooding washed out the creek bank supporting the bridge.
We come down here and fish from time to time. It's been difficult lately.
The 60-year-old bridge closed for nearly 6 months. The detours were unprecedented. Felicia Kerber has owned nearby Kerber's Fine Jewelry for almost 3 decades.
There has been a couple times it's been closed for like a week or a few days or whatever. They needed to do patchwork or whatever, but nothing like 6 months.
She's relied on her reputation to offset the business loss from a 20-minute detour.
I'm happy for everyone that the convenience is back here for everyone to help their business. This is their livelihood.
Floyd County Commissioner Al Knable's proud of the 3-week timeline from permit approval to reopening the bridge.
I thought there was a better chance than not that we would never reopen this. Because you never know what you're going to get into cost-wise. Thankfully, the damage was limited primarily to the approach over there.
It may be hard to tell, but Blackiston Mill Dam was smack dab in the middle of Silver Creek over here. But some of the rocks from that dam have been reused to shore up the southern Clark County side of the creek bank, and some of the concrete from the dam was used over here to help guide the water around the bridge support.
Bring the business back and don't be scared to come across the bridge, man, because it's perfectly safe.
No ribbon cuttings here, just the public works trucks driving off. Knable said he'll save celebrations for the replacement bridge planned upstream, but that's years away. In Floyd County, Ian Hardwick, WHAS11 on your side.
The dam removal went $20,000 over its $200,000 original budget. Half of that, though, was covered by Floyd County, the other half by the River Heritage Conservancy nonprofit. Well, after delays the first time, crews will start working to repair part of Hospital Curve in downtown Louisville tonight. This is a major repair as the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet is closing the left 3 lanes on the Kennedy Bridge to limit access to I-65 over the next few days. This is all going to start tonight at 8 and will reopen by 5 a.m. on Monday morning. Crews are going to replace the expansion joints down by Hospital Curve, which they believe will hopefully help with the potholes that are created in the area, some big potholes. Now, while the lanes are closed, KYTC is also going to be putting down a special epoxy surface to help with the traction on I-65 off the bridge. This is work happening after several semi-crashes since Derby Day in the rain right at the exit off the Kennedy. KYTC says this will hopefully improve pavement friction. We're going to be covering the beginning of this important work tonight. Our story is coming up on the WHAS 11 night team at 11. It's going to be hot work out there, Mallory, for those workers, but at least they know they can get their work completed unless you're going to bring any more of those pop-up thunderstorms. It's been sort of a nice break not to talk about them the last few days, but I have a feeling they're probably out there coming back sooner or later.
We do have the chance this weekend. It's just going to not be nearly as widespread as what we had last week. And the reason for that postponement, when we had 8 days of rain in a row, flooding concerns as well. Anything we see this weekend will be brief and very typical summertime pop-up storm chances. Otherwise, the heat and humidity still taking center stage here. And yes, that heat advisory, it has been extended once again now through Sunday. I'm expecting them to extend this even further through likely Wednesday of next week. That will be the length length of this heat wave as we wrap up the month of July. Temperatures right now across Kentuckiana, area-wide primarily in the lower 90s, 93 in Louisville, 92 in Fort Knox, 91 in Bardstown, Jasper, and Madison. Feels like temperatures, Louisville, we are now up into the triple digits for our heat index, up to 101. Feels like 98 in E-Town, 104 is your feels like temperature in Jasper this evening. Max HG radar, once again, not much in the way of storms for us. All of Kentuckiana is dry right now. You can see these storms just off to our north on the south side of the Indianapolis metro here, pretty much moving from west to east. So that is closer to a front that's stalling out this weekend, and that will be the best axis for any kind of heavy rainfall or strong storm threat through Sunday. Our hourly planner for this evening, no issues for your Friday evening plans. A very pop-up storm, very stray pop-up is possible. Otherwise, of course, hot, humid. Temperatures in the 90s, dropping into the 80s by sunset, and then lows tonight just dipping back down into the 70s. We'll time out those pop-up storm chances this weekend, and I'll let you know when that cool down finally returns. That's coming up in our 7-day forecast.
All right, you caught our attention talking about a cool down. Thank you, Mallory. Well, today is the last day to apply for FEMA assistance from the April flooding, the devastating flooding that hit Kentucky. To apply, you need to go online to the Disaster Assistance website, visit any disaster recovery center, or use the FEMA mobile app, or call this helpline that we have on your screen. That number is 800-621-3362. Again, 800-621-3362. Remember, in order to apply, you need to provide a current phone number, your address at the time of the disaster, and your current address, your Social Security number, a general list of damages and losses, banking information if you choose a direct deposit, and if you're insured, your policy number and the name of the insurance company. Anybody who experienced damage or losses can apply until 11:59 tonight. That's for federal disaster assistance. Another new developing story we're following all new tonight. Metro Police Chief Paul Humphrey is once again apologizing again this morning and also explaining his comments again about the victim of a recent homicide. Today, the police chief joined the weekly roundtable hosted by Bishop Dennis Lyons to further apologize to Latasha White's family. Latasha White was reported missing from the Butyl neighborhood, last seen April 28th by family and friends. White's family said they noticed that she never showed up at work and her personal belongings were still at her home. A missing persons report for White was filed by police on May 1st, but her family says they warned Metro Police she was missing days before. LMPD says she was murdered by her boyfriend. Her body was found days after she was reported missing. At a news conference this week, Chief Paul Humphrey pushed back against their concerns.
Tasha White's behavior placed her in the position she ultimately ended up in.
But again, appearing this morning in a surprise visit at the Bishop's table, the chief apologizing again for the comments this morning to the roundtable event hosted by Bishop Dennis Lyons. WHAS11's Alexandra Goldberg is joining us here in our studio. And Alexandra, how was the apology taken this morning? There was a big crowd there at the Gospel Missionary Church.
Doug, right. So at this roundtable, that they appreciated Chief Humphrey coming to the table with no hesitation to explain himself. And Mayor Craig Greenberg doubled down on that. He said the first step to mending any broken trust is through an apology.
Amen. What I said, the words that I chose in that one sentence were wrong. And I own that.
WHAS11 News, the only station at the Bishop's table, Friday morning, hosted by Bishop Dennis Lyons.
And so yesterday I apologize about that.
All right, thank you.
Metro Police Chief Paul Humphrey rowing back again on his comment made about the case of Latasha White, a Louisville woman who police say was killed by her boyfriend, 44-year-old Jamie Shelby. His original statement from Wednesday.
Tasha White's behavior placed her in the position she ultimately ended up in.
Louisville Urban League President Lyndon Pryor explaining the bigger picture following the divisive comment.
I think there was a willingness of some of us to accept what happened to Ms. White, depending on what she may or may not have done. And what I want you all to understand is that there is nothing that we are going to do, that any of you are going to do, that devalues your humanity, that diminishes your dignity, or that takes away your right to life.
The chief showing up at the weekly meeting out of the blue, hoping to address the public outcry over what he said about White's case.
Evidence shows that at the time of her murder, the two were en route together to commit another murder.
We should never shame victims, but we should also tell the truth. And we have a problem in the city.
Chief Humphrey said that when you are involved in a violent crime, you're more likely to be a victim of a violent crime. He held on to his consistent message that decreasing violence in the city starts with the youth. In studio, Alexandra Goldberg, WHAS11 on your side. Doug.